Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
So I went back to the pit and was prepping for, the next lap or like that. But as I'm there, I'm actively listening to the MC and like, okay, well, maybe the 8 o'clock wave was an outlier. Maybe they are doing the safety briefing like that. And no, he didn't do the safety briefing again. He basically did a carbon copy of what he did, at the earlier 8 a.m. wave. Um, and so, okay, fine. So I went out, ran that wave. Obviously, I know all the course now. I know all the issues with the courses like that. But when I came through on the second time, then they'd actually closed down Creek Crusade. And I didn't do a follow up to figure out why they closed it down, if it was me that caused it to close down, if it was somebody else that said, hey, this is an issue, we can't resolve it, anything like that. So yeah, so just that, I think for me, I think it was more okay. There's kind of two separate issues. Yes, we didn't do the safety briefing. Yes, we didn't mark Creek Crusade, but kind of blowing me off on a safety issue is not a good, it's not a good sign here. I mean, look, when I as a participant care more about safety than the folks that are running the event, okay, there's a fundamental problem here and a fundamental disconnect that needs to be called out and needs to be dealt with. Because look, I'm sure, pardon the cat there. I'm sure that somebody has a responsibility at TMHQ for these events to make sure that the MC has something to say, right? And so whoever was supposed to have done that, pardon the cat again, whoever was supposed to have done that completely failed that day because I never, at any point that I came back to the pit, I never heard any utterance of the safety briefing. Nothing. Oh, and also by the way, so it's not just if you can't swim, don't go in the water. If you have metal in your body or if you've ever had a seizure, don't do electroshock obstacles. Again, that
Right.
never got communicated at all. Now, granted, yes, does everybody sign the death waiver? Yes. Do they read it? Probably not. I don't know. Um, but it was just kind of just this general lackadaisical attitude towards safety that I think really kind of said, okay, I need to at least post about this, and at least kind of raise some awareness of it.
Yeah, I mean, a
Yeah.
few things to touch on there. I,
Hmm.
I can see TMHQ being like, it's common sense. Like, if you don't swim, don't go in the water. But like, also, it's I'm a behavioral analyst, so like controlling the environment. You want to create a safe environment so
Right.
no one drowns or gets hurt or this or that, or at least minimizes the chances of that. Right? You can't make it we're not bubble wrapping everybody, but at the
Right.
same time, like
Right.
you're in a situation like normally I wouldn't like run through electrical cables either, but like here I am, like this is what you do here. And when you don't know how deep it is until like suddenly it's too deep, like I'm a decent swimmer, so I wouldn't be in like
Hmm.
a situation like that. But I can't imagine the fear of, like, oh my God, I can't touch the bottom anymore. And then they flail and they grab someone else. Like there's so many things that could go wrong here. And then Spartan,
Right.
overarching Spartan is usually a little sometimes heavy-handed with like, hey, take the life vest, take the life vest. You think of Killington or whatever.
Hmm.
And I'm surprised that they didn't have that either. So it seems like a failure in quite a few things. And again, I don't want to pin the blame on the MC because, as you said too, like you don't blame the learner, you got to blame the person who's supposed to tell them that, and puts
Right.
him in an awkward position to like not know what to say and not, he didn't know that was on the course. I can almost guarantee you that. Um, but it's also
Right.
concerning to
Yeah.
me for two reasons. One, obviously, there was the CrossFit incident where that unfortunate
Yes. I
athlete
remember that. Right.
drowned, and the you know the lifeguards that were there weren't active, like they didn't do anything. And there was an event, actually close by you in Georgia again, Toughest East last year, where I had two athletes on, the men's winner and the women's winner. The man Joe Rucco, pretty tall, said that he
Hmm.
struggled to touch the bottom in some of the swim. And then the women's winner, Charity Bourne, was very short. She couldn't touch the bottom. And so that's concerning, adding the fact that there's no volunteers there. In Toughest East, the electricity went out, so it was dark. Just a whole bunch of red flags. And we do this because we love Tough Mudder. I love it's my favorite.
Right.
I wish they were closer
Yes.
to me. We don't really have any events up in the New England anymore, but
Yeah. I know. Right.
we
Yeah.
just don't want anything to happen. And you had said too that you were present when, the big Tough Mudder fatality happened as well. Do you care to talk
in
about that?
in 2013. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. and so he ran an earlier wave, than I did. And so what I was out there running, and so what I remember the most was, just running along, and then all of a sudden, maybe 100 yards in front of me, I see this big ambulance just kind of just drive on by at that point. Um, and then when I finally got to the finish line, of course there's no word about that or anything like that. But then when I got to finish, I'm like, hey, what are we supposed to have walk the plank here today? Um, and so out of that, that event has always kind of stuck with me as kind of this seminal moment on water safety, where again, kind of this perfect confluence of events of, you know basically kind of poor obstacle design, poor management of people. Because what happened, he ended up jumping off, and then this person behind him kind of jumped off, not really with any cadence or anything like that. And then, maybe she landed on him, maybe not. We don't really know. But then the lifeguard took, a large amount of time to recognize and ultimately get out there. And so, yes, unfortunately, he drowned. But yeah, that's always kind of stuck with me is, okay, yeah, this is not, looks can be deceiving here of, oh, hey, I've got a lifeguard over there.
Right.
And so if you kind of fast forward to this particular event, probably when I first, had to start swimming, the lifeguard was maybe, let's call it maybe 50 feet away. And, and so he wasn't out on a boat or anything in the middle of the pond. He was off to the shore. And I just kind of wonder, if I'd actually drowned at that point, would he have even, I mean, yes, he probably would have seen it, but it's kind of hard, I think, based on his visibility to where I was, to kind of judge precisely, hey, where did I go down?
Hmm.
Versus if you're out on the water on a boat, it's much easier to say, oh, you went down at this spot, this spot over here. Um, but then also, yes, so toughest Atlanta last year. Yes, I was there for that.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I know exactly for that part of the course. So what was interesting is that it was kind of this little shoreline, kind of water obstacle around this tree. And so you had the lifeguard that was on land, and correct, you had the portable light that was there. And so kind of a couple things. So the noise from the portable light, if you had actually was drowning and couldn't really generate any sound, the lifeguard wouldn't have heard it, because the noise from the portable generator would have completely masked it out.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then also kind of on this path, it was kind of filled with just random debris. So trees, and I can't remember if it was this one or another one, but like there was like a concrete block in there or something like that. And correct, as you're kind of walking along, even though this actually was strung out, so there was a string here saying, hey, stay to the inside. Correct. It was completely, there was no consistency to the bottom of this thing. So you're walking along, and all of a sudden, boom, it just drops out on you. And correct, if you're not a good swimmer, or a little bit on the short side, yeah, you're not aware of that, or you've got like a shoelace or something that catches on some of this debris in the water. Again, that's another safety issue.
And it's a
Um,
long event too. Like the odds of cramping or getting tired and stuff like that, and
right, 12-hour event,
exponentially
exactly.
so. Yeah.